If manifestation is supposed to set you free, why are you now more afraid of your own thoughts than ever? A negative thought comes up, and you rush to kill it. A doubt appears, and you immediately remind yourself, no, I have to believe. I have to stay high vibration. I can't let this ruin the outcome. So you switch from I don't have it to I already have it. From I'm scared to I completely trust the process. And in that moment, your brain gives you a little hit of comfort. It feels like the problem is being solved. It feels like you're rebooting yourself. But this might be exactly where the bug begins. And this bug-it may not be the kind of glitch you think it is. It may have been running somewhere much deeper, for much longer than you realize. Because most of the time, you haven't actually touched the root of the problem. You've just swapped one thought for another. From a Buddhist psychological perspective, that thought-switching move you just made is still happening at the surface at the level of what's called the sixth consciousness, the part of the mind that analyzes, imagines, and explains. It can instantly produce a brand new thought. But generating a new thought at the sixth level doesn't mean the deeper layer of self-grasping has loosened at all. You've told yourself 1,000 times, I already have it. I am already loved. I am already abundant. I am already successful. And yes, feeling it internally before it shows up in the physical world, there's nothing wrong with that idea. But in the subtler world of the mind, the question isn't whether you said, I already have it. The question is, when I don't have it shows up, do you immediately collapse? If you do, then the belief you switched into never actually took root. It was floating on the surface. And underneath, the old reaction is still there. This is the first layer of the bug. Manifestation may not unfold the way you think it does. You think you're inputting a brand new belief, but the system may be calling up a much older reaction. Here's a useful way to think about it. A cache hit. Imagine your mind as a system. You enter a new command. I already have it. But when the system runs that command, it doesn't actually execute the new instruction. It hits an older, deeper, higher priority cache instead. The panic you feel when you're ignored. The grasping that kicks in when a relationship cools off. The fear that floods you when money gets tight. The urge to control everything the moment things don't go according to plan. These caches are older than the positive belief you just installed. They're stronger, and they have higher priority. So manifestation isn't broken. It may just be hitting your deeper, older cache. You want to manifest a loving partner. But the moment they pull back slightly, you spiral into anxiety, suspicion, and panic. You want to manifest wealth. But the moment your account balance drops, you feel like your entire life is falling apart. What's actually running in that moment isn't the belief you speak out loud. What's running are the older, more powerful patterns your mind already knows by heart. You think you're creating the future, but before the future has even arrived, your old reactions have already been called up first. And inside a mind, there's something even more subtle going on. In the inner world, every pursuit inevitably awakens its opposite at the same time. The harder you chase being loved, the more the fear of being abandoned gets activated. The harder you chase abundance, the more the shadow of poverty gets stirred up. Not because you shouldn't want things, but because in the world of the mind, anything you grip tightly will simultaneously expose the thing you're most afraid of losing. This is where the mind works very differently from the physical world. In the physical world, the harder you push something, the more force you need. But in the mind, the harder you grip, the more that thing becomes your master. The more you must be loved, the more you become controlled by relationships. The more you must be wealthy, the more you become controlled by the fear of poverty. There's a perspective here you may have never considered. The moment the outside world doesn't cooperate, you lose control. The moment the result hasn't arrived, you start doubting yourself. The moment life doesn't respond the way you expected, you scramble for confirmation. In that moment, you think you're attracting, but what you're actually doing is handing over your center. It's like someone in a relationship who, the moment the other person goes quiet, immediately falls into insecurity, suspicion, and desperation. The entire power dynamic shifts instantly. Manifestation works the same way. So the real key isn't forcing yourself to believe, I already have it. The real key is this. When poverty shows up, you don't collapse. When coldness shows up, you don't lose your center. No matter what the world throws at you, you can meet it without rejecting it from deep inside. Not because you don't care, but because your center no longer depends on the outcome. This isn't coldness, and it isn't resignation. It's your sense of being no longer hijacked by outcomes. A truly stable core isn't, I will definitely get what I want. A truly stable core is this. Even if I don't have it right now, I'm not panicking. Even if the result is delayed, I'm not sentencing myself to failure. Even if the world throws me a curveball, I can still stand here, steady. And this is where Buddhist psychology isn't saying, stop wanting. Of course, you can want success. You can want wealth. You can want love. You can want health. You can want a better life. The question is, have you fused those things with your sense of self-worth? Made them the proof that you deserve to be here? The sixth consciousness can swap thoughts quickly, but the seventh consciousness is still clinging to the me that must succeed, must be loved, must be proven. Only when you truly unbind the equation, where success, wealth, love, and health are no longer equal to your sense of worth, no longer the proof that you deserve to be here, does any of this actually become possible. What really needs to be examined isn't the desire itself. It's the self behind the desire, the one that needs to be proven. You can want success, but success no longer determines who you are. You can want wealth, but wealth no longer determines whether you're allowed to feel at peace. You can want love, but whether someone loves you or not no longer determines whether you deserve to be here. So where do you begin? Not by finding a better belief, not by crafting a stronger affirmation, but by noticing the next time an old cache gets triggered whether you can see it. Not see it and immediately switch. Not see it and rush to override it. Just see it. See the panic. See the grasping. See the fear that whispers, without this, I'm not complete. And then don't rush to follow it. Don't rush to prove you're still worthy. Don't rush to pull back some sense of reassurance. Don't rush to flip yourself into a higher frequency. Just let that old reaction sit in front of you for a moment. And you'll find something. It's not as dangerous as you thought. It's not as big as you thought. It's just old, familiar, used to being fed the moment it shows up. Once you stop feeding it, it starts to loosen its grip on its own. That's the real refresh. Not refreshing a prettier thought. The real refresh is refreshing the I that has been using outcomes to prove itself all along. And that's when manifestation stops being another game of self-control. It's no longer, I must switch my thoughts immediately. I must stay positive at all times. I must pretend I already have everything. It becomes something deeper. I see the desire. I also see the fear behind it. I allow myself to want, but I refuse to be swallowed by the wanting. I keep moving, but I don't kneel before the outcome waiting for it to tell me who I am.